Good evening and welcome. Welcome everyone to the Township of Chatham Township Committee meeting for Thursday, March 23rd, 2017. And we will now turn it over to Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department. Chief is here as well as several other members. If you guys want to come on up, give your report.
Good evening. Thanks for having us here tonight. Give you a quick snapshot and report of basically what we did in 2016, as well as a little bit of an overview on our organization for those of you who don't really know, fully what we do. During 2016, Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department responded to a total of 312 emergency calls, which made it our busiest year in department history, even surpassing the total number of emergency calls after the natural disasters from Hurricane Irene, Sandy, and the October snowstorm a few years prior. Overall, the department showed roughly a 3% increase in our emergency calls between 2016 and 2015, with a steady increase over the last 5 years. So we're only getting busier as time goes on. The department provided mutual aid or automatic aid to our neighboring communities a total of 33 times. And mutual aid and automatic aid are programs that are utilized by fire departments across the country when additional manpower or apparatus is needed at either an incident scene or at a fire station to provide additional manpower. In 2016, we assisted Green Village Fire Department, Chatham Borough Fire Department, Madison, Morris Township, Berkeley Heights, and New Providence Fire Department. It's a regular occurrence for us to go to all these communities, and we look forward to continuing that in the future. In addition to our mutual aid responses, the department responded to 15 fire-related incidents, 4 of which were building fires. Luckily, only one of these building fires resulted in significant damage to a home. The department responded to a number of other various emergency calls. Over the past couple of years especially, we've seen an increase in responses to natural gas leaks and natural gas odors. More for the residents, something that PSE&G started a couple years back was they changed their protocol. So now if a resident calls the gas company directly reporting that they might smell gas, the gas company is going to in turn notify the fire department right away. So whether the residents notify us or not, we're still going to be responding for them. So we've seen a significant increase in our natural gas responses, mainly because of that protocol change. Of our total emergency responses, false alarms only accounted for about 40%, which is down from 2015. So we are responding to a number of legitimate emergency calls more so than our false alarms. A quick snapshot on what our department uses as far as apparatus and support vehicles go, just for the residents and the committee members that may not know. Our fleet of apparatus is a mostly modern and very reliable fleet. Back in 2009, we actually finished out our apparatus replacement schedule that was agreed upon with the Township and Green Village. So Chief Bear and I will be looking to renew that in the coming months, in the coming year. Engine 10 was our last apparatus purchase back in 2009. It serves as our first due engine company. Has a number of capabilities and also responds as our RIC apparatus, which is a rapid intervention crew. And what that is, it's a specially trained team of firefighters who are used specifically for rescuing downed firefighters. So that's their sole purpose, and it's a number of hours of specialized training that go into that. Engine 11 is a 1988 fire engine, which I'm sure everybody's seen around town. That was actually the last piece of fire apparatus that the department bought on our own before the township started assisting us back in the 80s. Due to its shorter wheelbase, we use that to respond to motor vehicle accidents in town, just to make traffic a little bit lighter around the accident scenes, but still serve the effective purpose. Our ladder truck is a 1998 Emergency 1. It's a 100-foot straight stick, so the ladder is mounted from the back of the truck, and it's just a straight ladder. It's actually our most versatile piece because it serves as both a ladder truck and a pumper, which is why it's called a quint amongst the fire service. That has five components. Brush 13 is our oldest in-service apparatus. It's a 1973 Ford Great Eastern, and that's our brush truck. Back in 2011, we started discussions amongst ourselves and amongst the township to start the replacement process for that. So got pushed to the back burner for a while on our end, so with the new apparatus replacement schedule we'll be addressing that as well. Rescue 14 is our specialty rescue truck. It's got all of our extrication and technical rescue equipment on it. It's got a number of specialized hydraulic tools that can be used for technical rescues, for motor vehicle accidents, and anything that's really out of your normal fire department, kind of what you would imagine a fire department to respond to. We also have our incident command vehicle and our utility truck, which both serve good purposes for us. The incident command vehicle is outfitted with a number of radios, which allow us to communicate with everybody in town, as well as our surrounding communities and the county as a whole. As far as membership goes, throughout 2016, the membership contributed a total of 4,988 hours of service to the community. Of those hours, roughly 1,225 hours were spent responding to emergency calls, while the rest of the 3,763 hours were attributed to activities such as training courses, weekly drills, meetings, or other various work details throughout the year. The fire departments within the township, both us and Green Village, we train weekly, which is something that isn't really seen much anymore around the volunteer fire service in this area. So the residents can rest assured that we are training on a weekly basis, whether you see us out there or not. So you have a highly skilled group of guys coming to you if you need any help. Throughout 2016, we also welcomed 6 new probationary firefighters as well as 1 junior firefighter. The addition of these probationary firefighters marked the largest influx of new members that the department has seen in recent years, which is definitely a welcome addition to our roster. Of those new probationary firefighters, 4 of them came to us with previous firefighting experience and training, so they could immediately begin acting as interior firefighters. And the remaining 2 began their Firefighter 1 training back in January, where they're receiving over 150 hours of training on basic firefighting skills. We also had 1 associate member join, and associate membership is something that a lot of members in the community might not be aware that we have. Associate membership it's available to people who really don't want to be firefighters, but they still want to help and contribute to the fire department. So basically they help in more administrative and behind the scenes roles, public relations functions, or what have you. So even if you're not looking to go running into burning buildings, there's still a number of places that we can use to help. Unfortunately, we did take 3 resignations for members whose professional and personal careers took them out of the area and just made it impossible for them to continue with us. Probably our biggest accomplishment of 2016 was the acquisition of our new Scott X3 air packs. The state-of-the-art SCBAs replaced our aged fleet of SCBAs, which were well over 20 years old and far under the current standards and best practices for the fire service. With the support of the Township Committee and Administrator Chickarone, the department was able to take delivery of 30 SCBAs back in July. And each SCBA came equipped with some state-of-the-art technology, such as snap connections for our cylinders, which allowed for a decreased cylinder change time while on scene, as well as a buddy breather system that acts as a self-rescue device for each firefighter in case there's a malfunction with their SCBA while they're inside of a fire. So what this does is it allows the firefighter in distress to quickly connect to his partner's SCBA and replenish his air supply so that they can safely and quickly evacuate the area. It actually placed us on the forefront of fire departments across the country. The NFPA, which is the organization that pretty much oversees fire departments throughout the country, projected to be this year, they're going to be mandating an industry standard buddy breather system, so we're actually ahead of the curve on that, which is a good thing for us. We were also able to convert to a personal issue face piece, where in the past, the actual face pieces for the SCBAs were communal, so they stayed with the air pack, and we just cleaned them after each use. So going to personal issue, it's a much more hygienic way of maintaining our equipment. Just an interesting kind of fact that the SCBAs, less than 24 hours after we put them in service, we put them to their first test responding to a structure fire. So we put them in service at the right time. They were definitely put to good use right off the bat. Just as far as some good goals that we're looking to accomplish this year, one that's already in process is the development of a special operations group within the department. We're in the process of training our firefighters in specialized rescue, ice rescue, water rescue, and we're expanding our rapid intervention training, especially after the hurricanes and just some of the flooding that we saw. Really, we kept getting called out for residents that might have driven into a flooded roadway and needed to be rescued. We didn't really have the training for that in the past, so what we've done now is we've planned our training, we've purchased the necessary equipment, so we're getting all of our firefighters trained at that higher level so we can be prepared for if those situations occur in the future. And the Neptune pump system is it was a federal fire truck piece that was basically housed by us for over the last 12 years. That's actually this year being relocated, the entire system, down to Bayonne, down to the more industrial area. So that transition is happening now. It should be complete within the next couple weeks to a month. So I'd really just like to take the time and thank my members for all the time that they dedicated throughout 2016. A lot of guys went well above and beyond the call of duty. They attended basic and advanced training courses that not only created a safer department, but a safer community. And as always, thank you to Township Committee and Administrator Chickarone for all your support. We look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Thank you, Chief. I just had a couple of questions. One, again, I'll say this to each of you guys when you come up here and speak. Thank you for your service to the community. People, one of the reasons we wanted you here tonight is help people understand, being a firefighter or serving in the EMS, it's not something you take lightly. The hours that you spend away from your families and friends, holidays, and you're on call 24/7, and you're, the backbone of our community. So I, again, appreciate it, and I can't say it enough how grateful I am personally, but, I think on behalf of all residents, we are grateful for you. The question I had was the challenges you face in terms of, be it fundraising, I'll ask each of the groups, fundraising or even just membership recruitment. How much of a challenge is that for you guys, and what can we as a committee or as just residents in general, as a community, do to support you guys in those efforts?
Both things that you mentioned are important. Whether it's fundraising or just getting involved. Without having the members to respond out, that's our whole purpose kind of gets handcuffed a little bit. So I'd say that the biggest thing that we can push to anyone is get involved. Whether it's coming down, joining as a firefighter, joining as an associate member, like I mentioned. There's a place for everybody. So we encourage the residents to come down, get involved. We'll find something for you to get involved with, even if you don't want to be a firefighter. But there's definitely a place for everybody. The volunteer fire service as a whole across the country is hurting. Just the whole demographic of how things are. People can't afford to live and work in the same town anymore. So it's just a challenge that the whole volunteer fire service is facing. Fundraising is always a very big thing. Now we were very fortunate to have the residents of our community and surrounding communities come out for our Christmas tree sale. It was one of our most successful Christmas tree sales to date, and that's our largest fundraiser. So whether it's donating or just getting involved, it's really just, we can't really push that enough.
Chief, thank you very much for the presentation. I was kind of taken aback by the number of false alarms that you mentioned in your report. Is that mischief, or is it just people who thought their house was on fire? What do you describe a false alarm as? Obviously, we were all raised to understand the danger of bringing a fire crew out to a non-fire, because that leaves you open to not being able to respond to a real fire. But what are the ideas of the false alarms, and are they mischief, or are they?
They're not necessarily mischief. There were a couple intentional, like pull station activation, like the fire alarms that you pull down out in the schools, like a couple times kids would pull them, so that's more malicious. But most of them, it's just, there's a lot of alarm systems in the township that are automatically tied into the central station. So as soon as that smoke detector goes off, we're responding out. So a false alarm is really just, when the smoke detector went off and there was no fire. Maybe it was just smoke from cooking, or, a homeowner might have been changing the batteries in the detector and forgot to tell the alarm company. So it's anything that's, it's not necessarily something that's, malicious or mischievous. It's just something that's not, not a real fire. But, it's still something that we're here for. So, middle of the night, middle of the day, it's just part of it.
Forget the proliferation of so many home alarm systems. I guess that has a lot to do with it. The other thing, and I'll mention it also with Chief Bear, the attention that you're paying to firefighters in distress themselves. When you guys are going into a fire, when you're weighed down by 100 pounds of gear, when you're climbing up these stairs, the idea of fitness among the members of our volunteer services is something very important to me, and it's something that we've kind of talked about, and I'd like to pursue it. Obviously, training to take care of a firefighter who's having a heart attack while he's fighting a fire is critical, but maybe laying the groundwork for more healthy opportunities for exercise or while you're training.
Yep, no, absolutely. We actually did kind of an overhaul on our in-house gym that we have at the firehouse. There's probably no less than a dozen guys on on a daily basis that are down there using it. So the guys are training and preparing themselves for it. The number one cause of death among firefighters is heart attack and cardiac issues. So making sure that we're physically fit is really on the forefront of our mind. Depending on if you follow our Facebook or not, last week we actually did a training evolution on firefighter down CPR. Yeah, so we basically went through a training evolution on how our own firefighters can perform effective CPR on a firefighter when he's in full turnout gear. So.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Chief, I was struck by the fact that this was the largest number of calls this year ever. Yes. And you went on to explain that part of it was the gas odor that they've changed their policy. Were there other aspects of that report that contributed to that larger number, or do you think that by itself pretty much pushed you over the previous years? We've
seen a steady increase in the gas odors over the last couple of years. I mean, even if it's just a contractor hitting a gas line, I know we had it happen during the American Water project that's going on now in Lafayette, but it's kind of just luck of the draw. We've had smoke conditions. We're responding more and more with the emergency squad to assist them in motor vehicle accidents. Anytime that somebody gets hurt in a motor vehicle accident in Chatham, we're responding automatically with the emergency squad. That's ever since we went to the county dispatch a few years back. So it's kind of spread out across the board, but the one that really pops out is our natural gas responses that have gone up. That carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide alarms, they've kind of increased over the last couple of years just because people are, finally being more educated on the dangers of carbon monoxide. They're going out there getting their CO detectors, and now that they got them, now they're starting to reach their lifespan, which is 5 to 7 years. So they start going off, and
Okay.
we kind of see an increase.
And thanks for the huge contribution that all your department does. It's a great asset to the town.
No problem.
Chief, just thank you very much. We say it over and over again, and still I think some people in town don't realize it, but it's an all-volunteer fire department. It's an all-volunteer EMS. It's an all-volunteer Green Village Fire Department. It just can't be said enough. Obviously, we support you with equipment requests, but the fundraising efforts that you do, and I guess you're in the middle of a direct mail fundraising effort right now. I know sometimes things get lost in the mail, but really, from that perspective, what you do and the service you provide to the community, essentially, I don't want to say for free, but for free in the sense that the time and effort you put in and the service you provide is tremendous. So once again, I really can't emphasize that enough, that our towns realize it's all volunteer, and it only happens with the support of the community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chief.